All right, we're beginning this broadcast with some breaking news coming in at this moment. Separatist leader Masarat Alam, who was released only just a few months ago, in fact just a month ago, has now formally been re-arrested. Masarat Alam has been re-arrested. The separatist leader was last evening put under house arrest. He in fact even spoke to the media early this morning. The leader had led an anti-India rally where some of his supporters were waving Pakistani flags and raised pro-Pakistan slogans. The BJP had read the Riot Act to the Mufti government to arrest Masarat Alam. This is the latest breaking news coming in at this moment. Shuja ul Haq joins us on the phone line with all the latest. Shuja, what more information do you have?
Well, that's right, Sanket. Masarat Alam has been arrested this morning by the police. Remember, he was kept under house arrest last night. But this morning, what we've learned is that a police party came and he was taken away from his house and has been presumably taken to Budgam because that's where the case was registered. We'll be getting to know what exactly are the sections in which he has been arrested. But yes, as we were pointing out earlier, he has an FIR registered against him, the recent one, which was under various sections of the law, including 120B. So that's what we are presuming at this point of time. But there is no official word as to what exactly are the other sections that have been put against him. But yes, it can also be seen in the light of the fact that today is the Tral Chalo March, and the government has already decided that they will not allow it. Most of the leaders have either been put under house arrest, and now Masarat Alam being arrested formally.
Now there are two issues here. Is this preventive detention or is this an arrest? Because if this is preventive detention to stop separatist leaders from actually marching towards Tral, because they had in fact decided they will move towards Tral on the 17th of April in protest to what they feel is the killing of an innocent civilian, which the army has said, no, that's not the case. Is it a preventive detention or is this a formal arrest because of that flag waving incident that took place?
Well, Sanket, as I was pointing out, there's no official word on this yet, but what I'm assuming, my sense is that this is not a preventive detention or preventive arrest, because if they had to do that, they would have continued keeping him under the house arrest. If they've taken this step from house arrest to arresting him, that certainly means that it's more than just a preventive arrest or a preventive detention. But so far, the officials have not spoken up. So we're just waiting for an official word on it so that can give a confirmation on this. In fact,
now, Shuja, just this morning, in fact, these visuals that we are playing out on our screen right now is Masarat Alam just this morning when he spoke to the press. Of course, the Mufti government was under a tremendous amount of pressure. We saw that Rajnath Singh also spoke to Mufti Muhammad Saeed only yesterday, where he expressed in no uncertain terms that he was not happy with the way things were actually going about, the Pakistani flag waving incident.
Well, that's right. Mufti Muhammad Saeed was under tremendous pressure. But the incident has happened on Wednesday, and there were continuous clamor that she should be arrested. But since till this morning, there was no arrest. It looks like the Mufti government has played it very smart. They've held that down for as much as they could, giving a sense out to the world that they still stand by what they believe in terms of the assertion that they had put forward right from the beginning, that they want to give space to separatist leaders, fight them with their own ideology. That sense has also been kept intact. By this time now, it seems that he didn't want to take it too far, and he is, at least at the end of the day, shown its allies that yes, he listens to them as well. So the arrest has finally happened.
No, but then as Shuja, you mentioned, it's still worth knowing, what is this arrest for? Is this to prevent these separatist leaders from actually marching towards Tral? Because only this morning he gave a statement to the media where he said that I'm not going because I've been placed under house arrest, and certain other leaders also, but leaders must move towards Tral to carry out that protest. Is it that the reason behind his formal arrest, or the reason really is about that flag waving incident, the Pakistan flag waving incident and chanting of anti-India slogans that led to his arrest? Shuja, I request you please stay on the line with us while we go across now to Moshmi, who joins us. Okay, we are joined in by TVTN's consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai. Morning, Rajdeep. This is a huge development this morning.
It is, but it was inevitable. Let's be honest. I think we need to do a fact check here and say that Masarat Alam has been arrested 27 times. 27 times since 1995. And on each occasion, it's been similar charges, Sanket. It's been largely in the context of his anti-India sloganeering. He's been charged with sedition, with disturbing the law and order, and he's also been charged 6 times under the Public Safety Act. The irony is that on each time there has been no charge sheet or conviction, as a result of which he has eventually the courts have asked for his release, as happened in the last instance. Now even here, unless charges are framed, Masarat Alam sooner or later will be released. So I think there was an inevitability, given the kind of public pressure and the political arrangement in Srinagar, that Masarat Alam would be arrested. The question is, what now? I mean, does the government have a plan of action as to what they intend to do with separatists, or simply on every occasion put them under house arrest? These are questions that the Mufti Mohammad Saeed government, as every government in Jammu and Kashmir over the last 2 decades, will have to confront. So, inevitable, Sanket, but don't rule out the possibility that sooner rather than later, Masarat Alam will be back on the street.
Now, Rajdeep, what you're saying is that this was inevitable. This is something that, was pretty much on predictable grounds. And in the past also, since we've been speaking to our reporters, they say that this is almost like standard operating procedure. In the past also, this is how various governments in Jammu and Kashmir have reacted to, provocations of this kind. But do you think that this was an act under pressure? Only yesterday, the Home Minister spoke to the Chief Minister in this regard.
I think that the pressure suggests operated in the context of the swiftness with which the Jammu and Kashmir government has acted. The fact that they were under house arrest yesterday was inevitable, given the fact that they had planned to do a march to Tral, where they have alleged a fake encounter. But that they've actually gone ahead and executed the FIR and arrested him within 48 hours of his leading that demonstration in Srinagar, leading the rally in Srinagar, suggests that there was pressure to act swiftly, not allow the situation to spiral out of control, and embarrass the PDP-BJP government in Jammu and Kashmir. Yesterday evening, one of the BJP's advisors to the government, Hari Om, had written an article and a letter to Amit Shah, where he has asked Amit Shah to withdraw support to the PDP. So there is a section within the BJP which will use every Masarat Alam-like case to try and put pressure on the Jammu and Kashmir government to try and somehow either withdraw support, or the government reaches the point where it becomes difficult to function. But I think the larger group still in the BJP believes that this is an experiment which is worth trying. So the Masarat Alams, yes, will happen from time to time, but I don't expect a situation to be created where a Masarat Alam brings down the government. Let's be honest, Sanket. I think Masarat Alam today has been made a hero. He's the new Hurriyat hero, the new separatist hero. Suddenly there is this new figure who has emerged within the separatist ranks. Only 3 days ago, Yasin Malik also led a similar protest. We didn't see the same outcry either in the political class or the media. Masarat Alam, because he was released by the Mufti Mohammad Saeed government within a week of coming to power, has become a figure, a heroic figure for his supporters, and also someone who will now be constantly targeted by the opponents of the BJP-PDP government.
That's right, Rajdeep. I request you to stay on the line with us. Let's quickly play in that reaction by Masarat Alam minutes before he was actually arrested. Now, Rajdeep, it almost appears as if Masarat Alam, predicted that something along these lines will happen. He said that the entire initiative of the government is to somehow derail their Tral Chalo movement, and that is why he has been kept under house arrest along with other leaders.
Absolutely, Sanket, and I think Masarat Alam is relishing the opportunity. As I said, he by giving him so much of attention, even Pakistan now, in a press release yesterday, the Islamabad Foreign Office spoke of him. He suddenly elevates himself to possibly a potential successor to Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani as the hardline face of the Hurriyat. Now, where the government of India will have to then deal with Masarat Alam as a little bit more of a larger-than-life figure, which in a sense they have created under this kind of public pressure. That's the nature of politics in Kashmir and the manner in which it has played out. So I think Masarat Alam is relishing his moment in the sun, and he will believe that incidents like this only give him an opportunity to stand out in the clutter of Hurriyat hardliners. So one is not at all surprised that Masarat Alam is speaking out in the manner that he is. Remember, he is someone who emerged first in the 2010 stone throwing movement, and that's when the Omar Abdullah government also was accused of giving Masarat Alam this kind of heroic figure, that they were accused of making him a heroic figure among his supporters. He was accused of leading the stone throwers at the time and sort of galvanizing that movement. Now he's accused of leading these anti-India protests, but he's been arrested 27 times, and unless the Indian government finds evidence to convict and charge sheet and convict him, Masarat Alam will be back on the streets. Now the government needs to have a larger plan what they intend to do with hardliners, Hurriyat hardliners like Mr. Gilani and Masarat Alam.
Well, Rajdeep, the sort of response, you're talking about the fact that this is almost like a shot in the arm for Masarat Alam, because this is the larger-than-life, creation of a separatist leader as far as Masarat Alam is concerned. In fact, in just a short moment, we're also going to play visuals of moments when he was actually being taken away by the police, where people were kissing him goodbye. So that sort of coming of age of Masarat Alam as the leader for the separatists has actually happened in this particular case. But what more could a government have done under the present circumstances, Rajdeep?
I think the government had its limitations. Let's be honest. The government had few choices in the manner in which the public pressure and the media pressure was there. They had little choice, I guess, but to re-arrest Masarat Alam. But the question is, what does the government intend to do with the hardliners and with the Hurriyat itself? Does it intend, like it did between 2002 and 6, strike a dialogue, which was an attempt made by the Mufti Muhammad Saeed and ironically by the Vajpayee government at the time? Or do they want to, in a sense, isolate the Hurriyat in some form? Ironically, again, just 5 months ago in the elections in Jammu and Kashmir, it appeared that the separatists had been firmly rejected, and you saw that in the relatively high voter turnout. However, the fact is that the separatist sentiment does exist. And I thought a PDP spokesperson last night on our program made an interesting point. This is not about individuals. This is about the ideology that they represent. Now, what is the government going to do to limit the ideology of the separatists? Arresting Masarat Alam, I fear, will only give the separatists a boost. They are desperately looking for publicity at all occasions. Now, the one option that the government had was to completely ignore Masarat Alam's ranks and treat him as a peripheral figure. But by arresting him so quickly, you have effectively turned him for his own supporters into a heroic figure. He and his supporters will use the Tral encounter to once again rebuild their support, claiming that the Indian army is engaging in human rights abuses. And this is the narrative which has played out in Jammu and Kashmir since 1990. So the government needs to have a clear plan, not just to deal with Masarat Alam so much, but to deal with the separatist sentiment, which is represented by the likes of Masarat Alam.
Right, thanks very much, Rajdeep Sardesai, for joining us this morning. Let's also quickly go across to Shuja ul Haq, who joins us now. Shuja, among the various sections under which an FIR was actually filed against those unknown people, one section was 120B, criminal conspiracy, and the other section was pertaining to, Unlawful Activities Act. Now, under which section has Masarat Alam been arrested?
Well, Saket, as of now, there is no clarity as to what exactly does this arrest mean. If it is the arrest that has followed the recent FIR, then these are the sections. But let's remember, Masarat Alam does not have just one FIR against him. He has many cases. In fact, he is out on the bail. So we don't exactly know what is the legal procedure that the government will take, which are the sections that he will be booked in. But as of now, the fact is that he has been taken from his house. He's been arrested by the police. We'll get to know more details about the entire, facts about the arrest. But yes, as we were earlier also pointing out, this seems to be the Mufti government's, some sense of comfort towards its ally BJP, because yesterday the BJP had given an ultimatum of a sort that if Masarat Alam is not arrested, their ministers would not attend the next cabinet meet that is scheduled to happen on 19th of this month. So clearly some relief as far as the allies of the BJP are concerned there, and also the fact that we need to understand that Mufti at the same time did also make sure that he puts his foot down for more than at least 36 hours. There was nothing in terms of action when it comes to Masarat Alam. They detained him only this morning. Yesterday he was put under house arrest, that too after tremendous pressure. So I would sense it as a win-win for both. Mufti to his own people has been able to make his point that he withstands the pressure. He has the capability of withstanding the pressure from New Delhi, and at the same time he did not want to take it too far and has finally arrested Masarat Alam.
That's right. Now, Shuja, what is the sense that you're getting on the ground? Take us through the various political reactions that have in fact poured in ever since this controversy came to light. And also, I mean, we would be expecting a lot of political reactions post this particular development that has taken place.
No, that's right. Yeah, there would be political reactions, particularly those people who have been reacting since yesterday. You see, there are two aspects and two sides to it. First is the aspect of the mainstream politics. Most of the political parties outside the state of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly national media, national political parties, have been of a very critical view that how can the state government allow something like this to happen, and that too when BJP is an alliance partner in the government. It's more of an attack towards BJP, because BJP always has had this viewpoint which is more or less hardline towards the separatists and their ideology, while as the PDP in the state and the other political parties have had the view of giving space to separatism so that their ideology is fought with an ideology, a democratic way of dealing with dissent, so to speak. But at this moment, there are political voices inside the state, say, for example, the voices that come from the separatist camp. They're certainly going to, condemn this. Since yesterday in itself, we've seen various sections saying that the FIR in itself.
All right, Shuja, please do stay on with us. We are, in fact, joined in on the phone line with Mr. Jitendra Singh, who's a Minister of State in the Modi government. He hails from the state. Mr. Singh, thanks very much for speaking to Headlines today. Your first reaction to this particular decision that has been taken to put him under arrest?
No, I think that is in the fitness of things, and I must appreciate the intervention by the Union Home Ministry and also the manner it was highlighted by a section of media. And therefore, I think this is also an occasion for all of us to realize that the alliance that has come into being in the state of Jammu and Kashmir is based on common minimum program, and to put it in a single sentence, it's an alliance for governance. It's not an alliance on political issues, nor is there any compromise on the ideological and core issues held dear by the BJP.
No, but Mr. Singh, will you agree? In your opening statement, you have said that, thanks to the intervention by the Union Home Ministry, it took an intervention, according to you, to actually get this done.
Not necessarily that, but certainly you must acknowledge that the central government and the Union Home Ministry is keeping a close watch on the sequence of events, which otherwise also normally would be expected to do, considering the kind of sensitivity that prevails in a state like Jammu and Kashmir.
Now, Mr. Singh, also, would you be able to share with us under what sections has he been arrested? Because the fear is, just a short while back, we were speaking to our consulting editor, Rajdeep, who said that on a number of occasions, many separatist leaders under duress, under pressure, are arrested. And you'll be able to throw more light because you are from that state. They are arrested under pressure, but then eventually in the court, the case, falls through.
No, I'll have to check on that technicality. But the very fact that good sense has prevailed and things have happened in the manner they were expected to happen, I think we should now move ahead to ensure that the functioning of the alliance takes place only for the sake of governance, and we do not trespass into each other's ideological issues.
Now, Mr. Singh, my question to you is this, sir. Is this Masarat Alam's arrest related to that flag incident, or is this his Chalo Tral movement that he was supposed to lead today?
I'll have to check on that, because that's a very technically legal question that you raised. But I'm sure the cognizance must have been taken.
Okay, Mr. Singh, Mr. Jitendra Singh, Rajdeep Sardesai is on the phone right now. He wants to ask a question to you. Rajdeep, we have Jitendra Singh, MOSPMO, right now with us on the phone line. Please go ahead.
My simple question, Mr. Jitendra Singh, is what is your approach going to be to the Hurriyat? The Masarat Alam you have now elevated into a hero by arresting him in the manner that you have. You have created a new Hurriyat hardline hero. What is your approach going to be? Will you have a dialogue with the Hurriyat? Will you completely ignore the Hurriyat? Will you act against the Hurriyat? What is your approach to the Hurriyat, sir, going to be?
There are two parts to your question. A, that our approach has been very consistent and steadfast as far as the separatism and the terrorism is concerned. The BJP leadership has been very consistent over the years, even when we were in the opposition. And therefore, there is zero tolerance for terrorism, zero tolerance for separatism. The second part of your question about having arrested, would you be pleased if we are not arrested? Would that satisfy you or others?
Are you saying that you have arrested him under media pressure? Are you saying you have arrested him under media pressure, sir?
Situational requirement, this arrest was called for.
Sir, I want to know, are you planning that the limited question, if you remember, sir, during the Vajpayee government, Vajpayee ji had initiated a dialogue, a parallel dialogue with the Hurriyat. Does your government intend to do that, or your government believes the Hurriyat are separatists who should be behind bars, either house arrest or arrest? Because you know that it is not just Masarat, there are many others who go out on the street and give anti-India slogans. Will you arrest all those figures who are responsible for this anti-India sloganeering?
I get your point, Rajdeep. Now, as far as the principal issue of entering into a dialogue is concerned, I do not wish to engage myself in that kind of discussion because the government will take an appropriate view depending upon the situation which keeps changing in the context of Jammu and Kashmir. But this limited to what happened or the sequence of events in the last 2 or 3 days, I think what was called for has taken place.
So, just one final question. Am I to understand, sir, that therefore the government's approach is very clear, whether it is a Yasin Malik, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani or any Hurriyat leader who raises anti-India slogans, who conducts any anti-India campaign in the valley, they will be once again put under house arrest. They will not be allowed a free run.
No, I didn't say that. I said it happened as a result of the sequence of events of the last 2-3 days. I'm not making a generalized statement, not making generalized mention of all the names that you are making. So kindly, I'll be glad if you avoid putting words in my mouth. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir.
All right, that was Jitendra Singh, MOSPMO, in conversation with Rajdeep Sardesai. The big story at this moment, Masarat Alam has been arrested following pressure by the BJP as well as massive media pressure that was on the PDP government. The arrests have been made. We'll try going across to Shujaul Haq in just a short moment to figure out under what sections of the law has he actually been arrested. Time now for a short commercial break. We'll be back with this story.